participants who can turn on your video feeds. Please turn on the video feeds. Yes, let us begin. We will begin with the invocation. I will now just mute everybody. If you have any queries, you can just click on the reaction button or raise your hand. All right. Saraswati namastubhyam varade kamarupini vidyarambham karishyami siddhir bhavatu me sada vasudevam sutam devam kamsachanuramardanam devaki paramanandam krishnam vande jagadgurum. Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. Hari Om. Yes. Can someone recollect what is it that we have seen last? A small link has to be established so we can quickly go on. We had almost completed the second Adhyaya. Last two verses were remaining. Can someone just tell me something that you recollect? Yes, please. Anybody would like to share something? Yes, please. Anyone? That is one requirement in our session, so we can go ahead. Yes, please. Om Prakash ji has raised. All right. Yes, sir.
Well, basically, Krishna introduces Samadhi. Arjuna wants to know what is exactly, how to know that who has that reached to the Samadhi. It is basically the union with cosmic divine, Samadhi is, because even in distress or a joyful situation, or even in fear and anger, nothing affects him. Everything, he can go with the same thing. So that is one thing. And then another thing was introduced, who can control the senses, like Jitendriya, on his Indriyas, who can control it. I mean, this is the gist what I'm trying to say.
All right, sir. Om Prakash ji, thank you very much. Anybody would like to add to what Om Prakash ji has shared? Yes? Yes, Kulkarni ji. Ji, sir.
Arjuna asked, what is the definition of Sthita Prajna?
Sthita Prajnasya ka bhasha. Yes, absolutely.
He explains the lakshans of Sthita Prajna.
Yes, what is the lakshana of a Sthita Prajna? Arjuna is, we see one thing about Arjuna that I think, thank you, Kulkarni ji, he has very perfectly said. What is the lakshana of a Sthita Prajna? Because Arjuna is a very practical person. He wants to understand, how do I identify somebody who is awakened? How will that person be? Will he be different from everybody else? If yes, how? Now, physically or morphologically, I don't think there's going to be any difference between any individual who is Sthita Prajna and non-Sthita Prajna. But there are some lakshanas where you can understand. Like Om Prakash ji shared, the person who is there, like he's in a state of peace, a state of quietude. What we talked about, Samadhi Bhava, which Krishna is talking about. In all times, he's maintaining that balance, such a person. One more place Krishna goes on, the person is worthy of being called a Muni. Who is that person? When you see somebody is free from anger, he's free from fear. Both these emotions are not coming inside of that person. Such a person who is able to see it balance, the good and the bad, not getting agitated also, who is not suffering at the time of distress, meaning distressful situations will come in life. That is what we can say. Only thing we can account in life is change. That is the constant. So sometimes unexpected things will happen, but a yogi is able to have a kind of what we can say buffer. That shock will not break that person, but that person is able to bear it and still not suffer in a bad situation. Many times we see people with even the lower economic background also, they are very happy. They're not suffering despite having a lot of challenges, monetary, so many other challenges. Every month they have to, pay their bills. There are people at the door who come and make a lot of noise, so much sound, all the quietude is disturbed, other people talk bad. Normally, all these things will make a person suffer because he is poor. I'm having so many difficulties. But they are able to smile, they are able to laugh, they are able to live their life very happily. I know of one man, I would see him near our village. For nearly 3 months, every day, he would stand under one tree. He had no job, no source of income, but always smiling. Now, I would say this person is able to smile despite of all these difficult situations. I said, why are you standing here? I felt curious, so I went and asked him. He said, if I stand inside of the village, people will make fun of me and tease me. So I don't want people to tease me. Here I am happy under in nature's company. I stand quietly and I am peaceful. So this aspect that somebody is going through a bad time and yet not suffering, that is the what we can say trait or lakshana of someone who is going towards a higher state of consciousness. And here Krishna is saying not only that, anger and fear also are not disturbing. How does anger and fear come in? Does it come in slowly or does it come in suddenly? It comes in suddenly. We are not, when we least expect it, something happens out of our control and anger takes over us. Same way, fear also, complete control over ourselves. Something happens and then we get unimaginable fears. This is going to happen. I got a bad feeling. One friend of mine, she got a very bad feeling that her boyfriend is going to die. Now that is a fear which has come. That's not she's not Nostradamus or she's not got clairvoyance of what's going to happen. But she said, no, no, no. Then I opened a particular charitra. That page also talked about death. I went outside. One more person talked about death. Because of this, for nearly 5 days, this person was continuously fluctuating in emotions. She finally called me and said, Bhaiya, what is this? I'm not able to understand. And finally, I said, you go, just quiet down. What have you seen? What is the matter? Right now, has something happened? And by becoming fearful, will you be able to save any trouble? She said, no, I have a bad feeling he's going to get sick. I said, okay, you are having a feeling, go talk to him. No, but he'll think some way. I said, he's your boyfriend, so he respects you. Go talk to him. Go, both of you go to hospital, get your checkup done. But don't have that fear inside of here. And it turned out to be nothing. Now it's so many months since that fear came and vanished also. But what happens is these moments take control. So that is what Krishna is saying. And that is how a yogi is. A yogi is calm and peaceful. Krishna says how like the various rivers, when they merge into the sea. Look at the sea. The sea is calm, the sea is peaceful. They say Shanti Sagara is one of the adjectives given to people who are very peaceful because they are like the very quiet ocean. Somebody who has gone on a cruise sometime on an ocean liner, they can just see how beautiful it is. Inside, maybe on the surface, by the shore, we see all of these waves and it looks very disturbed and everything. But my friend is in the Navy. He says it looks beautiful. He says, I get a new perspective of life just staring at the quiet, endless sea. Now, that is how a yogi is. The yogi is calm and peaceful. Swami Vivekananda has actually talked that as a way of meditation. Looking at the sea also, looking at the sea waves, just watching them, observing them itself is a way where you can go into a dhyana quietly. All the waves are different, yet all are rising, all are merging into that quietude. Again they come, again they go. Now doesn't that sound like Punarapi Janama, Punarapi Marana of a human being also? So many waves, so many cycles of lives are going on. So something like that quietude can come in, and a yogi is that state of Shanti, but not somebody who is a bhogi. That is the difference. If somebody wants to know why should I become a yogi and try to reach a higher consciousness, well, the simplest reason is all these fluctuations of everyday existence will cease. Because here, your mind is revolving out of desires. Emotional, physical, mental, intellectual, all desires trap a person and create restlessness inside. But the yogi is different, and that's what Krishna is talking about. He goes on further. We start with the 71st shloka. Vihaya kamanyah sarvan pavamshcharati nispruhaha nirmamo nirahankaraha sa shantim adhigacchati. He who from all desires abstains, a complete detachment in life he obtains. From the senses of ownership and ego, he is free, and ergo purely at peace he can be. So he's free from this sense which of ownership. I am in charge of everything. This is my son. This is my daughter. They better behave the way I say. Otherwise, now how can you have ownership over an individual Atman? Maybe you can, as a parent, you have responsibility. You have to give the sanskara. All that is fine. But after a particular age, can you live the life of your child? No. But that ownership keeps coming, and that creates a problem in relationship also. The children who love their parents also start getting irritated. Look at that, every point, every place. This person is trying to decide everything. Now they will decide when I should get married, to whom I should get married, to how many children I should have, which school they should go. Then what am I going to do? This is how children start feeling then. So instead of that, when you're out of that ownership aspect, wherever, in any relationship also, ownership should not come in. Well, that yogi is free because he's now let go. He says, yes, he does his karma. We saw the karma yoga, isn't it? Doing your karma and letting go. Like that, a parent should do all that is possible by the parent and then let go and not worry. Did I do right? Did I do wrong? I was not a bad parent. I scolded that time. These are all questions. It's all right. One must do the job best possible way. After that, everybody has their own life. A child is not completely what we can say. If a parent cannot be held accountable for every action of the child. Look at Hiranyakashipu and look at his son. What a difference it is. One person is a great, the son is like a deva only, and the father is like an asura. Now, what can we say here? Well, it is simple. We just have to let go, do our duties. Krishna is saying, when you are free of this, free of ownership, free of ahankar, I am everything, or I am running this organization because of me. I am, so this organization exists. Tomorrow, what will happen to you if you go out of that organization? Will the organization fall apart? That is the big question. If it is falling apart, you are not running the organization in the right manner. It should be in the Rig Veda, there is the word Yajna Suryana Chakshuhu. As long as the fire burns in the eye of the sun, till then the divine work will go on. Something like that. Organizations should be like that, driven by a vision which will go on, which will keep driving and inspiring people. Some best example, we can look at these this Ramakrishna missions. Today also children are getting inspired. They come with life questions. Maybe the entire situation has changed. Everything has changed from what it was before. So many changes have taken place technologically, even social, even evolution is taking place. Yet, so many, even very recently, I was surprised to find one friend of mine who was a little disturbed, suddenly started finding peace by going in Mylapore in Chennai to the Ramakrishna mission. After work, he says, that's the place I go for. He says, now I have started chilling out there only instead of going to clubs. Now, what is he getting there? Something is getting. And where is Swami Vivekananda, who is running the organization right now? He has gone ahead. But the marga is still going on. People are still finding the light because the origin is something like that. So Krishna is saying, let go of all desires, let go of all ownerships, become peaceful and free. That's what he's talking about. And he goes on further. Esha Brahmi Stitihi Partha Nainam Prapya Vimuhyati Stitva Syam Mantakalepi Brahma Nirvana Mrichati. Krishna is talking about the highest nirvana, Brahma Nirvana. That can also be realized by an individual. Oh Arjuna, in this conscious state awakened, the wheel of illusion is forever lifted. If this state up to the time of death is sustained, a merger with the infinite is attained. So Krishna is saying, until the Anta Kala, Prayana Kala, if you are able to maintain this, you will get liberated. There was one participant, she shared her experience of her grandmother, and the participant was also a grandmother only. So it's a very old story which she was sharing. And when she was talking in present tense. So it was initially a little confusing and it looked like a live, my grandmother is very sweet, and she started telling the age, but it was very beautiful. She said her grandmother was so peaceful. She did all her duties. She could not go to certain, what we can say, some dhamas where she wanted to go. She could not go to Tirtha Kshetras also. But she was a very awakened person who followed all the different principles in her life. Everybody respected her. And she says it was the day of Vaikuntha Ekadashi. I still remember, it almost gives me goosebumps the way she was narrating. She was saying, my grandfather, she's a very sweet person. So this on this Vaikuntha Ekadashi, she came to me and she served all the guests. She gave them all the food properly. Everybody was happy. Then she came and told me, my Vimana has come. And she then passed away. Now look at this, how crazy it is that such a person is conscious until the last moment. And this person, this lady also during COVID time later on, unfortunately, she passed away. But even in the ICU, she was talking about the Gita. That was an interesting aspect. So if you just see that awakened state, last minute sometimes are very peaceful also. It is not always fish is out of water and fluctuating. That is a last moment of a bhogi. A yogi gets a very quiet state, and Krishna is saying that person, if he is able to maintain his sadhana, is able to maintain the tapas, then Krishna says that person is worthy of even attaining Brahma Nirvana. With this Adhyaya 2 is getting complete. It is interesting that Krishna has suddenly, this Adhyaya is a long Adhyaya, so many different changes that take place in the Adhyaya only. Krishna talks about logic, then he talks about metaphysics, then he talks about Atman, then again he talks about practical Karma Yoga, and again he has gone into certain things which are not verifiable. How do you verify all of these moments? These are just told. We have to believe. Whether we have to believe or not, nobody is forcing us to believe it. It's an option. Let us see Arjuna. Arjuna is very nice. He is going to have a question. Before that, can someone guess what is somebody who has not read the Gita? Can someone guess what would Arjuna's question be? Yes, I'll just allow participants to unmute. Anybody, you can just unmute. What do you think Arjuna is going to? Is it yes, sir? Please unmute and you can tell Kulkarniji.
He asked, why you are asking me to fight?
Yes. Yeah, my
Ultimately,
question is,
Why was-
this battle I want to leave. You are going and talking to me, everything else. You come back to the topic, or why are you asking me to fight is what Kulkarniji is saying. Okay, anybody else would like to echo the sentiment or has some other feeling? What do you think, Arjuna? Or is Arjuna going to be like, yes, I now realize there is the Atman inside of me, which is eternal. So my doubts are cleared. Let me try to attain Samadhi Sthiti and I will do my duty. Is Arjuna going to answer this way or is going to have something else? Yes, please. Anybody, we can just quickly guess and we'll go ahead. Yes, please. Anyone?
Arjuna has a question. Even I have a question.
Okay, Ji.
Any war which cannot be fought without, all these, whatever you say, कि anger nahi hoga usme.
Ha, okay. Okay.
Any of these,
So-
what you say, this karma is not involved. It is going to have it. There will be deceit, there will be anger, there will be frustration.
Okay.
There will be so many of these negative
Ha,
things. Without that, the war
adrenaline
will not be
rush.
fought.
You can say adrenaline rush happens. The person will say something, he will taunt another person. So all these things will take place. Yes, Manitaji.
So without the negativity, war is not going to be,
okay.
it is not going to be a simple thing.
Okay, Vinitaji. So the question of Arjuna is going to be is, Krishna, what are you talking about? What yogi, what dhyana, what samadhi? War and samadhi, what is the difference? How can it, isn't it, Vinitaji? All right. I think that's a very practical
And
question.
I have one more question also. When we say
Okay.
ki, okay, Muni has this or Rishi or Munis, they have this
Ha,
going.
ha.
But
Yes.
if we have in our own scriptures also, I mean, some stories which I
Durvasa.
have heard, Durvasa,
Durvasa was angry,
Parshuram,
like angry young man, angry sage. But
Parshuram.
Parshurama, Jamadagnaya Vidmaya Mahaviraya Dhimahi. Then he was like fire only. He would say, Agratas Chaturo Veda, Prushtata Sharasandanu, Idam Brahmam, Idam Shatram, Shapadapi Sharadapi. He said, I'll cut with my shap also, I'll cut with my axe also. So what is this? Is this anger? Is this not anger? And that's a nice question.
And we
Yes,
have a
Vinitaji.
character, Ravan also, like he was
Okay.
supposed to be very, very intellectual person.
Intelligent,
And
but he was very angry. Okay. All right. I got a point, Ji. So I think Vinitaji has raised some very interesting points, but I would just say we will keep this a little bit in abeyance because these are going to be handled when we looked at gunas, Definitely. What is this? Because we have a scene where in the very famous painting also is there of Krishna, Chakradhara holding a wheel. and aiming it at Bhishma. And when he has promised he will not take part in the battle, he is now in one position holding a wheel, and we see Bhishma suddenly surrendering. That's from the Mahabharata. But we will see if this is actually the same anger as a child getting angry because lollipop is taken away. Is the Rishi's anger the same as that? Or is it something else? Is it something higher? Or it is just crankiness only? We will have to look at that when the time comes, but that's a good question. And I think Vinitaji has perfectly guessed what Arjuna is going to ask, because Arjuna's question is something very similar. He says, Arjuna Uvacha, third Adhyaya, let us begin. Jayasi chet karmanaste mata buddhir janardana tat kim karmani ghore mam niyojasi Keshava. Oh Krishna, haven't you just said what is superior? That spiritual knowledge over material action is better. Then why? Why is it you coerce me into action? This ghastly karma on me, why do you sanction? He said, just now you're talking about becoming liberated, becoming awakened. And now why are you asking me to do this ghora karma? What is the logic behind this is what he's saying. He says this spiritual knowledge is higher than all of these material things. Then let me become a yogi. Let me happily go into the Himalaya, do my dhyana. Why are you pushing me back into Kurukshetra and asking me to, you say, Uttishta Bharata, Uttishta Parantapa? What is the meaning? Let me be free. Why are you trapping me further? He goes on further. Vyamishreneva vakyena buddhim mohaya siva me tadekam vada nishchitya yena shreyo ham apnuyam. So he is saying, Krishna, maybe you are only confused indirectly, he is implying. Because he says, my mind stands confused and disarrayed. What lecture you are giving, my mind is just like how it is just confusing myself further. I am still confused, I am still afraid, is what Krishna is being told by Arjuna. For it fully understands not what all that you have said. Hence, show me which is the correct way. What will benefit me? I request you to please say. He's very clear about, he knows one thing, he wants to see his profit here in this situation. He's getting Marga Darshan also, but he says, no, don't give me all this extra. Tell me right now, connected to what is profitable to me. I want a good deal. It's like I have purchased these shares. Let me get the returns that are wanted for these shares. Don't tell me value is going down or anything like that. That is exactly what Arjuna is asking. But one thing beautiful about Arjuna is at least he has a clarity and a sincerity towards Krishna. So he always we will see him talk in a very free manner, because probably he didn't know 5,000 years later people will be listening to his dialogues to Krishna and then maybe giving him rating also. But anyway, let us see. We are happy Arjuna is asking these questions. I will start with the next shloka, and then two shlokas, and then we'll look at the illustration for this Adhyaya. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Lokesmin Vividha Nishtha Pura Prokta Maya Nagha Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam Karma Yogena Yoginam. Shri Krishna said, men of two faiths in this world dwell, O pure one, as I had said before as well. Those to whom seeking the eternal knowledge gives satisfaction, and those who believe firmly in the yoga of action. So if you see, Krishna is not getting irritated with Arjuna questioning him. Instead, he's seeing the sincerity from where the question has come. It is something for Arjuna wants to know. He wants to truly understand and move ahead. So he says, oh pure one, see, there are two types of people. He says, one, to whom they seek that higher knowledge, and that gives them satisfaction. They want to know, they want to get more knowledge, and through knowledge, they want to get the highest realization, and it gives them an inner happiness, inner bliss. If you see, some people are very prone to studying scriptures, books, any type of knowledge they want to gather and become better. Somebody would say, what is the news of all of this? This is not going to come in the exam. You will not get any returns. This is out of portion, out of syllabus, don't study it. But no, this person wants to understand everything. What will you do by studying all of it? Well, there are people, if you see even Socrates on his last day, he was going to be poisoned. He was going to die. Somebody wants to meet him, he was told, And he replied very nicely, do you want to meet him, or I can understand if you don't want to meet him? He says, no, I may learn something. Let him come and meet. So until the last minute, he still wants to learn and grow. So that's one type of mindset which wants to evolve, which wants to consciously grow through knowledge. Then there is one more, Krishna says, those who firmly believe in the yoga of action. There are other people who say, no, focus on karma. Keep doing your actions. Keep doing your actions. With actions only I will learn. Some people get through that marga of action only. Now, if they are two different marga or not is a different question. We will see that later on when Krishna talks about the different margas of yoga. So we can get realization by doing things. We can get realization by studying about things and understanding them also. There are two ways Krishna is talking about. He goes on further. न कर्मणा मनारंभान नैष्कर्म्यम पुरुषोष्णुते न च संन्यस्य नादेव सिद्धिं समधिगच्छति. Now this is a very clear answer to Arjuna's question. He says a state of detached action in works can't be reached without man's beginning and performing the action. And great spiritual boundaries can't be breached by physically renouncing all the works or by inaction. Krishna is saying very clearly, who can claim to be detached? Not somebody who has never entered into the field. It's like when I was in my college and I decided to stop playing badminton. My father has been playing, he still plays even after his, what we can say, he become veterans also in that category also he keeps playing. His career also is managing all of it. But when I decided, no, it's time I'll stop. He asked me a very nice question. What, you're retiring before your career started? Now, it is something like that. Somebody who does a karma, it's like if my friend comes and tells me, oh, lucky, I just managed to come home without getting wet. It was raining outside, I just managed to come. Now I am sitting, lying down on the sofa, watching TV. I just yawn at him and say, yeah, me too. Will it make a difference? I never went out. How can I? There is no chance of me to get wet. This person is gone and there he has managed. So something like that, somebody who has never done an action at all or is not doing karma, he cannot claim to get detachment at all. Only when you enter into the field, you can claim to experience what is this detachment. Krishna is introducing the concept of detachment. We will give a lot of more explanations to make it clear. But he's saying that without beginning or performing the work at all, you cannot get anything. Same way, great spiritual boundaries also cannot be breached without physically renouncing the works or by inaction. Meaning, if you want to get a spiritual knowledge also, you cannot just say, I don't want to do any karma. There was one old person I knew, one uncle, or we can say Dadaji, who was very close to he is close to my Guruji. I was told to go and meet him. So there I saw him. I had to wait outside of his ashram for nearly 1 hour because he was taking a broomstick and he was cleaning everything, cleaning all the leaves on the floor. I thought maybe I will help him because I was like, sir is so senior person. Why should I allow him to do it? Let me do. But he said, नहीं ये मेरा काम है. मैं माता जी के लिए मैं करता हूँ ये काम. तुम बीच में मत आना, बैठ जाओ. So I had to wait for him. Then he came, then he started. I thought, okay, fine, that's his karma yoga is what I thought. That's his way of life. It's all right. Suddenly he came, he said, let's eat something. He went inside, brought half a mango, cut that half a mango into 2-3 pieces and then taste this. It was the sweetest one. While I was eating, suddenly he started talking to me about states of consciousness. He started talking about mind. He started talking about illumined mind. He started saying, for you, this type of sadhana will be good. I was shocked. I was like, how can this person because from what my understanding was, it was like either you do this or you do this. People who are working will do only work. You cannot talk philosophy to them. It's like मजदूर का काम करता है, दूसरा काम जो office में suit and tie people who wear will do only that work. They cannot do the other work. But it's not like that. On the Adhyatmic Marga, Krishna is talking about the same thing. He says, even the yogi, without doing karma, cannot reach Shankaracharya. Did he not travel so far? Did he not do karma of traveling? He had already got realization at a young age. Why is he doing all of that? Why is Krishna also coming into the battlefield? He's already got everything that he needs. They're all teaching us by their life examples that even spiritual boundaries you cannot breach without doing karma. Karma is required. Maybe this is indicating that line, which is material world and spiritual world, there may not be such a sharp divide between the two. Many people draw this is this world, this is that world. Maybe they are actually overlapping each other. That is one point that we may think of. Let us see, it will become clear in this Adhyaya. I'll first share the screen, after which we will just begin. Just give me a second. Yes, if somebody can describe the illustration. Yes, please. Can someone describe the illustration? Yes, Chief. Is it clear?
The session shows that if we are divine in ourselves, and if we listen to the divine, our
Okay.
right happiness will be easy and fast. Because
Okay, it's a straight road.
Yeah, is the guide.
Okay, all right. Ashaji has given a nice explanation to it. Anybody would like to add to what Ashaji has said? Yes, ma'am. Anybody would like to add?
When we are with the divine, it is a path to happiness.
Okay, the shortest path to happiness is probably listening to the divine being inside. Thank you, Vinita ji. Yes, if we look at the tagline below, it says, if we listen to the divine being inside of us, our journey towards happiness is fastest. Why? Because the driver is the divine himself. The charioteer is the divine only. So that is one interesting thing that we see. Let us see how it is connected with this Adhyaya as we go on. Krishna has told, by physically renouncing works, you cannot get siddhi also or any spiritual realization. Let us go on further. Nahi kaschit shanamapi jato tishtatya karma krut karyate yavashaha karma sarvaha prakritir jair gunaihi. Again we see the gunas. Prakriti, guna, there is a combination. Just let us keep these words in abeyance. Earlier also we saw the word guna, triguna. We will see further what is it. Let us continue. Krishna says, not a single moment can pass for man. As without engaging in activity exist, no one can. Means not a shana can go on where there is no activity taking place. Why? Why is it? These nature's qualities on all beings have been endowed. A bond of works and actions on man has been bestowed, meaning this is a bandhana, which Prakriti, or we can call nature. In Sanskrit, it is called Prakriti. In the Greek mythology, this mother goddess is Prakriti is worshipped as a goddess. In our Sanatan Dharma, Prakriti is understood to be a counterpart of what they call Purusha, or she is called the Shakti of the Shiva. But Prakriti, nature is not, we don't worship just like that nature. We understand that nature is putting some impositions on us. Nature is putting some limitations on us. Maybe we have to overcome those limitations. That is also a part of sadhana. Right now, we have been told that this is a bandhana which is put by Prakriti. Prakriti and her gunas are making us bound by works, and we are all bound by work and action. No matter what happens, we all have to go to sleep at night, isn't it? It's like battery discharge. We have to go and sleep in the night. One friend of mine tried to not sleep for some event was taking place, and he said, I want to attend all, because it was a night event all 3 days. It was, I think, 4-day event, and he managed to be there for 3 days. Continuously, he was awake. Third day, it was like he was in a very difficult, it was difficult for him to stand properly also, but he said, no, I will not sleep. I don't know what happened in college. He felt he should take it as a challenge. And the entire 4th day, he was sleeping, and he missed the entire event which he wanted to attend the final day. What happened was nature immediately overcome. First day, he could control. Second day, he couldn't. He could try something better. Third day, he was at its limit, and that's all. Then he actually fell onto a bench, and then he slept there only. So what we understand is Prakriti is putting some kind of imposition on us, some kind of limitation on us, and because of which we are all trapped in karma bandhana. Because of these karma bandhanas, at any given moment of time, we are always engaging in karma. Right now, we may not be in the battlefield like Arjuna, but we are all in the battlefield of life. We are going through different life experiences. Maybe at this moment, we are all sitting together. We are all, trying to study the Gita. But even here, one person is continuously talking. Others are listening. Some people are thinking. There are other life events that you are connecting with it. Somebody must have eaten something just before the class. The body is doing that work of digestion. So many such actions are taking place inside. We do not understand. It seems like somebody says, "What are you doing?" No, I'm doing nothing. I'm in the house. But who knows? If you go deeper, you might actually get the realization which you are seeking for also. So the actions are taking place. If you see, there's a beautiful quote attributed to Buddha that we are just one spark away from realization. Continuously that work is going on, action is going on. No moment we can say that nothing is going on. Go to a park. Maybe people are lazing, sitting quietly around. You also want to go to relax. All of that is fine. Just go to the park, sit down. If there are people around, you'll see so many activities. Even if people are not there around, just look below. You will see ants. You will see so many other insects. You will see the wind blowing, the flowers blossoming continuously everywhere. Some activity is going on. You may not be conscious of it, but even if you are not conscious, the activity is going on. This is the work of karma. This is what is going on everywhere. Krishna is talking about. He goes on further. Karmendriyani sanyamya ya aste manasas smaran indriyarthan vimudhatma mithyacharaha sa uchyate. A way to physically control the senses a man may find, because when somebody understands, yes, I want to become the master of the world, I want to become the master of Indriyas. So physically, let me control all my senses. A person starts trying to do a sadhana. Krishna is talking about that person only who is not understanding the spirit and transcending, but is just using a rigid force, a rough force to suppress something but not transcend it. Let us see this. A way to physically control the senses a man may find. But if he constantly thinks of the senses in his mind, he is caught up in self-discipline's wrong notion. Such a being is beguiled by his misplaced devotion. Meaning, if I say, right now, I tell you, don't think of potatoes. What will happen? Why did I say don't think of potato? One question will come. Then why? What is wrong in potatoes? What is that papa if I think about potatoes? How will he understand if I am thinking about potatoes or not? What is happening here? We are thinking we don't want to think about it. If normally you just let it go, it will not trouble you so much. But our mind is like that. When you press on to something, more reaction keeps coming in. Again and again, it is something like that. Krishna is saying, if you don't transcend and you keep using the force. I remember around 12 years back when I had joined I came to my teacher, I had a very different idea of things. I thought spiritual path is something which is very different from there's a material path, there's a spiritual path. On the spiritual path, I should not have desires and I should not eat bhel puri was my entire contention. So what happened was I started getting the desire of eating. But I was like, what should I do? I'm not supposed to eat it. Nobody told me, no Shastra has written that don't eat it at all. But in my head, it was troubling me. So I thought, fine, now because my mind is continuously, I'm not able to drive my vehicle in peace without seeing a stall somewhere and that thought is coming inside. I better go to my teacher and I asked him. I said, I feel like eating bhel puri. What should I do? He said, go eat. I was shocked. I was surprised. What is the meaning of this? I didn't understand. He said, go eat. I said, how much, how many plates? He said, eat how many ever you want. It's like, great. So I had 2 plates and I had 2 plates continuously for 3-4 days. And I don't know what happened after that. I suddenly lost that craving inside. And because I lost that craving, that thought didn't trouble me again. So it is simple as that. You understand go to the root of the things. Otherwise, you are just pulling a weed from the top and allowing the weed to become stronger and stronger on the bottom. Krishna is saying that is a kind of a misplaced devotion where you are doing what we can say sort of injustice without really going to the root of things. Sometimes yogis go for sadhana for years in the cave also. They have some vasanas which have not been what they call sublimated. That elimination from the root does not take place. Then what happens? It's like a Brahmar. Boom, boom, that bee keeps on troubling inside and it comes back. The more force you do, the more you have to fight against it. Krishna is saying it's simple to transcend. Don't go into a quixotic battle with some things which are non-existential. Also, we get into a fight. He goes on further. Yastvendriyani manasa niyamya karmendriyaihi karmayogam asaktaha sa vishishyate. He who by the mind controls the senses and is detached, O Arjuna, from all sensual disturbances and performs all his works and actions in the yogic way, he is considered to be the most superior person any day. So Krishna is probably telling Arjuna, you have to enter into the battle but not allow the emotions of the battle to overcome you. Normally, seasoned battle experts, veterans, war veterans also don't get troubled by other people's taunts also, because taunts are made to disturb the person in front, isn't it? Many times people come and push somebody and he's like, dhakka kyun diya? That person has done it purposely. So asking a question is useless. He'll say, tune kyun liya? Why did you take it? So what is this? It is simple. A person must understand that what is the reason for all of these desires. Try to go to the root and not become trapped to it, is what Krishna is saying. Somebody with a mind, ultimately first you have to start working from the level of the mind only. First thing is, with the mind, you can at least start controlling. That is the way Krishna is saying. He who by the mind controls the senses and is detached, O Arjuna, from all sensual disturbances and performs his works and actions in the yogic way, he is considered the most superior person any day. Meaning, focus on your works, focus on your actions, focus on your duties. If you are able to focus on your works and at the same time not get carried away by the mind or your desires, Krishna is saying you are already performing yoga. Yoga is karma, yoga karmasu kaushalam, isn't it? Whichever karma that we are doing, whatever karma, if you see Adi Shankaracharya has beautifully in Shiva Manas Puja described yad yad karma karomi tadakhilam shambho tavaradhanam. Every karma that I am doing is your aradhana. He goes on talking about so many events. Even he says nidram samadhi sthiti. He says my nidra also, when I am resting, when I am lying down also, I am in that state of quietude and oneness with the divine. So that way, it is one thing. If we want to look at a clue on how to control or how to get detached, is first tell your mind, all right, don't go that direction where you don't want to go. Try to get in some control and then don't give too much importance. It's like potato example. I say don't think of potato, don't even think of the word what I've said only. Otherwise, you'll keep wondering in why, okay, am I thinking, am I not thinking? Instead, focus on another duty, focus on another work, focus on your responsibility. It will keep you occupied. You will not realize also. And many times that is the power of karma. Karma can slowly help you transcend. We don't know when greatness comes at our feet. Just karma has to be done. People sometimes do regularly regulated karma for a long time without bothering about the consequences, and suddenly they become great and people wonder, how did this person become like this? They don't see the steps which were taken. All it was karma only. So let us focus on that, not on the result, not on the outcome, not even the distractions that are waiting to take us away. Krishna goes on. He says, Niyatam kuru karma, tam karma jayo yakarmanaha, sharira yatra pichate na prasadhyeda karmanaha. Without attachment, perform your every action. He says, perform every action without attachment. Why? Simple. He says, because action always supersedes inaction. How simple is that? It's always better to do an action than not do any action. Even your body's life journey cannot be sustained. Without action, no accomplishment can be attained. So Krishna is saying, Sharira Yatra also, our Sharira is there. Our life, of our entire life, how is it going to be sustained? By karma only, isn't it? If I say I stop taking care of my body, I'll eat whatever I want, how much ever I want. I'll not do any exercise because I don't really care. I don't like exercises anymore. Will that help me? Can I sustain my life journey? It's not possible. It's not at all possible. We have to take care of our body. We have our duties towards our physical self also. If you see the motto of AIMS also, Shariram Adhyam Khalu Dharma Sadhanam, which is a Kalidasa's verse. First duty is towards the body that you must identify. That's what Krishna is talking about. Even body is not going to function. It's like, if you don't maintain your vehicle, can you travel wherever you want, whenever you want? No. You have to take care of the vehicle. It is something like that. If you see, Shabari was a beautiful example of how to take care of body. Her guru had told, Rama will come, Raghava will come. Till then, old lady, protect your body. You will get that darshana. Protect yourself. It was like Tavad Raksha Kalaivaram Drushteva Raghavam Deham Dagdva Yasasi Tatpadam. You will get that highest realization. Till then, don't go anywhere. Sri Rama is going to come. And then when Sri Rama comes, she very happily says, Safalam Guru Bhashitam. The words of Guru has come true. I saw Sri Rama. That experience is there. So taking care of our self is important. Like that, our karmas also. We have to just keep doing our duty. You don't have to worry or grumble also. Because whom can you grumble? When we are children, we can grumble to parents. After we become adults, whom can we grumble? And there will be a time where nobody is there to listen to our grumbling. Then what can we do? Go to the mirror and keep grumbling. See, this is like this world is like this. No, instead, just keep that aside, keep doing little by little the karma, let them go on. Krishna goes on. He says, Yajnarthat karmanon yatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangaha samacharaha. This is a beautiful word for detachment. English is very bad language to translate it. This mukta sangaha is the right word. Let us see this shloka first. Except the actions that are performed in a state of sacrifice. Krishna is talking about a secret of karma yoga. Except the actions that are performed in a state of sacrifice, chained to karma's bonds are all actions done otherwise. This is why, oh Arjuna, your actions you regulate with a freedom of detachment, as I postulate. Krishna is saying, except those karmas that are done as a sacrifice, like a yajna. If anybody has watched a yajna, how is it started? Agneya swaha agneya idanna mama. Prajapate swaha prajapate idanna mama. Suryaya swaha suryaya idanna mama. Not for me. I have offered it. I have offered everything to Agni. What are we offering? We are offering what we can say. We are offering Gritam. We are offering different Oshadhi. We are offering different medicinal twigs. So many things we are offering. But what are we doing this for? It's a symbolic act, which is also, so we are offering all our attachments also. We are saying, no, let the divine will be done. Let that will of the divine be done. I am giving my attachments. Oh, Agni, rise. Take my prayer to the divine. I am not seeking anything in return. Sri Aurobindo has beautifully described the role of Agni, the central Rigvedic Devata, the first one in his Secret of the Veda. Well, it is something about that only. Do it in a state of sacrifice. Sacrifice means if I have 10 t-shirts and I give one t-shirt which I don't like, is that a sacrifice? No, isn't it? When I have one and I see my friend needs it, then I give it without thinking once also. Here, take it. Now that is sacrifice. Sacrifice is not giving what is extra. Sacrifice is actually giving what is most precious to you, because there is nothing that can be returned. A sacrifice which is perfectly done is a beautiful one. There are so many such examples of sacrifice we can think of in our life. Dineshji wants to share something. Yes, Dineshji, please unmute and we can go ahead after your question. Yes, sir. Yes, Ji.
Yeah, so you are telling about sacrifice right now. So one question that comes to my mind is, there is also this thing in our scripture that first take care of yourself, then first meet your bare minimum, then do service to the world. So
Okay.
this is going against that. Now, if I have one thought,
Okay, Ji. Dinesh, if you can think of that scripture, if you can quote that, it would be more ideal. But this is not going against that scripture also, actually, Dineshji. When you are thinking of your own self, it is not swartha that the scriptures talk about also. When we are doing sacrifice, we are actually, if you see, mother does a sacrifice only, no, while raising a child.
Yes.
Isn't it? So what Krishna is talking about is that aspect of the joy of sacrifice, or when an action is done. If a mother says, I am giving these many things to the child because my child is my FD, I am going to get returns from my child, then what is going to happen is every karma that is done will have a shade of karma bandhana. That sanskar will be created. Bete, aise karna. See, I have given you these many aloo parathas. These many things I have given. I want return with interest. Then it becomes karma bandhana. That karma bandhana will then trap us, whether or not we realize. Whether this aspect of whether what Shastra is talking about, we will see, because Shastra is a very wide term for us. We have so many Shastras talking about. There is one person who said, Rinam kritva gritam pibet. Charvaka. He says, who has seen tomorrow, who has seen God, incur all the debt, borrow money and drink ghee. But what will happen to that person? Karma bandhana will not leave him. I may die happy life living all my sensual enjoyments, but next in line, people around me, somebody will have to lose, no? Even if I don't have anybody, that somebody's money I have borrowed and I have gone away with. That karma will have a consequence in the world. Krishna is saying to get free from karma bandhana is where you are going to do. Only when you do with sacrifice, you can become free. Otherwise, you will remain trapped, Krishna is saying. Because chained to karma bandhana, karma's bonds are all actions done otherwise. That is why, O Arjuna, your actions you regulate with the freedom of detachment, as I postulate. Krishna is not telling detachment is something like a big punishment. Many people feel. Then dialogues also, they say, no, I will get detached. Couples also fight. They say, no, if you do like this, then I'll become detached from you. Or many times they say, I'll go to Himalayas. This is a very common dialogue in many homes. I will go to Himalaya. All the spouse has to say is, okay, here, take, this is the bag. The person will retrace the step, because nobody wants to go that side also. It is just emotionally, people use those words. But Krishna is not asking us to lose our sense of what we can say emotions. He's talking about, in this beautiful shloka, the word is called Mukta Sangha. If you just look at these two words in Sanskrit, Mukta means free, Sangha means united. It's something like a free union. Means you are united also and yet free. Can someone just tell me, because both look like opposites, isn't it? Free is one side, another side is bound by united. One more side is united, another is free. But both sound like opposite. How can anything be free? Can anybody think of a free union? Anyone? If you can just unmute. What is a free union? It's an ideal, isn't it? I think in relationships also we want that, isn't it? Full understanding with a person. It means united yet free. I mean, I'm not binding that other person, but that person also understands me, and there is a freedom. That freedom is utilized in the right manner, where this person is not disconnected from the other person also. It's like two butterflies beautifully flying, not having any trouble. This butterfly will go to one flower, that will go to another flower, but again they come back together only. They go on, they're enjoying and manifesting their full potential, experiencing life. It is something like that. Krishna is talking about detachment as a freedom, not as a punishment. He's saying it's a freedom from karma bandhanas. Many times our attachments cause us to get in trouble. This man spoke to me, I reacted to that person, that's all. But why did you react like this? 100 people will ask us the question, why did you react like this? But we got angry, so we reacted. But why did we get angry? Because it was a karma bandhana. We were just trapped. That person did a karma, I reacted to it. So many such actions happen in our life which we are not understanding. Many times we exercise unnecessary control over somebody else, and then we'll say it is out of love. It is not out of love, it is out of some kind of insecurity or something, or some attachment only. Attachment, all these things are actually a baggage which we carry in our relationship. When we take it out of it, you just see how beautiful the relationship is. I'll quickly go on to the next shloka. But again, what I want to say, I want to clarify, because from my experience of one more batch, once I had told that we should not have this attachment. And one lady after the class, she told me she had this trouble. Her Sasuma is always talking like this. I said, don't feel bad about her. What she says. Don't get into this reaction over everything. She came back next day. She said, now my Sasuma is more irritated with me because of you. I was a little worried. What happened? He said, no, I became detached. Now she says, earlier she was saying you are like this. She was telling all my faults. Now she's saying you don't care if I'm alive or dead also. I said, what happened? She said, I stopped showing emotions. And it's not about becoming emotionless and showing a stone face, whatever she's saying. You have to participate in your duties. You have to participate in your karmas. And we are all human beings. Can a mother lose her mamatva for the child? No. That mamta, that feeling of love which a mother is having, a father is having towards the child, that is always required. That love is there. But that love should not become a binding factor, which becomes a problem in relationship also. It is said, Namatu Paradaivatam, Mata, Pita, Gurudev, parents are first gods. But sometimes because of attachment, parents become first enemies also. Now what a big problem that is. They should maintain their Daivatva. How do they maintain the Daivatva? Is by having trust in the sanskars that they have created. And detachment is required. Detachment is required so that the parent can even scold the child when the child is wrong. But in that scolding, if the person gets adrenaline, gets anger, gets emotions, gets frustration, then the person will do and create a new sanskara, new karma bandhana, then that child will remember 35 years later, see, that day you hit me. Now, what is it connected? That time was a different time, but it created a sanskara. This person got a chance to tell it later on. And then the person gets disturbed. Why was I a bad person? Why don't you remember the good things? Why do you remember bad things? All such things are karma bandhanas which are happening because of attachment, consciously or unconsciously, because we have not been taught this important principle, which was there earlier in the full Guru Parampara. It was taught Mukta Sangha, freedom, a free union. That is what Krishna is saying. That is the joy. Look at Krishna's relationships with everybody. That is the best example for us to see. With everyone he had dialogues. Even Shakuni Mama also would have dialogue with him. Duryodhana also would have dialogue with him. He would have with the greatest Rishis also. Every single person, he had a relation with them. Yet he was not attached. He was like what they say, water. Water does not have its own color. Very beautifully merges into the color of the whichever color is added into it. Something like that. That is what Krishna is telling. He says, see, remember, sacrifice is important. Without sacrifice, you cannot become free. Karma bandhanas will keep trapping you. Let us go on. Krishna goes on. He says, Saha yajnaha prajasrishtva purovacha prajapatihi anena prasavishyadva esha vostishtva kamadhuk. Brahma, the progenitor, through the act of sacrifice, bore the first living beings and put forth this edifice. Krishna is again going to the creation. There are some beautiful suktas. There's an Asadhya sukta which is there in the Rigveda, which speaks about the creation. A beautiful metaphysical truth is there. Now Krishna is quickly, in short, talking about, see this. He says, look at Brahma. When this Srishti was created, when the Prajapati was creating the universe, he says, this was the principle. He said, as from sacrifice you all originated, through sacrifice your life's evolution will be actuated. Meaning sacrifice is going to be the medium for the growth for everyone, because this world is created by an act of sacrifice. We'll just keep this on hold right now because this will be looked at later on in the Gita. What is the sacrifice? What is that sacrifice in creation of universe is going to be asked by Arjuna only. That time, let us see. A strong person has suddenly become weak. Like that God who is immortal, has suddenly created a mortal world. Why did he do this sacrifice? That's a good question which will come later on. So we'll keep that aside. The point here is, through sacrifice, everything has begun. Through sacrifice, the growth will take place. That is the principle. He says, Devan bhavayatanena te deva bhavayantu vaha. Excuse me. Parasparam bhavayantaha shreyaha parama vapsyataha. Vapsyatha. Excuse me. Through sacrifice, the gods you can bolster and call upon their blessings with your fervor. Thus, mutually, you can together advance with the Supreme's blessings. All life you can enhance. So it is like the Creator has created the Devas, He has created the Manushas. Manushas pray to Devas, Devas receive the spirit force from the Manushya, then that energy the Devas receive in the form of prayers. In return, the Devas give blessing to the Manushya, and Manushya also progress, Deva also progress. That way the world has been created is what Krishna is saying, where in this manner when the human being begins to bow to the divine, offer his whatever spirit's force inside of him as a prayer to the divine grants blessings and raises the consciousness of the human being. That way, so maybe even gods are also evolving, humans are also evolving, going towards a higher status. Let us see, Krishna goes on. Ishtan bhogan hi vo deva dasyante yajna bhavitaha taydattan pradayaibhyo yo bhungte stena eva saha. When through sacrifice the gods you impress, all your desired enjoyments they shall bless. So do your sacrifice, there are said do so many things. Certain devas, you do like this deva will get pleased. This deva will give you the blessing. So many kula devatas are there in so many gramas. Each has a tradition. If you look at, that's a very beautiful aspect. In every grama, there is one special grama devat, like everybody has one for a family also, kula devat. So Krishna is saying that, see, there is a beautiful connection that has been established. When you do sacrifice and you do the works, and what is the Kula Devat asking from human beings also? If you look at it, it is nothing. It is just these are all systems that have been created for a growth of the individual, for the growth of consciousness, through culture, through different traditions. They're not all superstitions which people say, blind superstitions, Andha Shraddha. Truly, Shraddha cannot become Andhi only. Shraddha is always Shraddha only. There is nothing like that. It is only human nature when we add certain elements. I have Shraddha in my mother. Or can I say I have Andhashraddha in my mother? No. Shraddha, I have been raised by my mother, and what she has taught me is my lived experience, which I connect with that experience. Something like that, Krishna says the Devas will receive your offerings. They will receive with love. And what offering? Each Deva has a different offering. And beautiful aspect is you can choose your Devat also. Ishta Devat. That's a beautiful parampara where you can choose your Devat. I don't like this Devat. I like this one. Okay, go ahead. And what can be offered? Anything. Ramanuja offered what? Mathematical theorems. And a Devi would whisper to him in his ears. He would get. So what was his real? He called it, I received this from the Devi, was his experience. Now, how? What? Why? Well, let us leave that aside at the moment. Krishna is saying, Devas will give you a blessing, you will get the enjoyments. These enjoyments to the Supreme, whoever doesn't offer, means back to the divine, offer it back to the divine. What comes to you also. Don't get greedy. Krishna is saying, whatever talent you get also, no, don't take it to yourself. Offer it back to the divine. Krishna is saying, because those people who don't offer it and they take pride in themselves, such a person is not but a thieving beggar, Krishna is saying. Means somebody who is receiving the enjoyments, receiving the blessings of the divine, and still not expressing the gratitude or not feeling the gratitude and offering it back to the divine is nothing but a thieving beggar. Meaning, a beggar is begging. Yes, this person is both begging also and then stealing also. It is worst, Krishna is saying. I think everybody must have heard of this, right? Tera tujhko arpan kya lage mera. In so many prayers are there. What is the meaning of that? Well, anyone? If you would like to just tell me the meaning of that. Yes? Tera tujhko arpan kya lage mera. This
What-
kind of...
What,
Yes, sir.
what we are offering is God's gift to us. We are offering, we cannot offer anything. Everything He has created, it is His creation.
Yes,
And,
yes.
Am I right? This is what.
Absolutely. Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. Vadiyam vastu govindam tubhyameva samarpayet. What I have got from you, oh Govinda, I offer it back to you. There is no, it is nothing. It is, I'm not taking ownership of it. This is also a beautiful kernel of the Isha Upanishad. Isha vasyam idam sarvam yat kinchat jagatyam jagat tena taktena bhunjita ma grudha kasyasvit dhanam. Mean, don't steal somebody else's wealth, Isha Upanishad says. because all belongs to the divine. Whatever comes to you, you accept that. Whatever it is. It's like beautiful promise we should take to ourselves that I will accept whatever the divine gives. Good health, good moments, bad moments. Oh, it's all right. There was one person I know who was offering swear words also back to the divine. That person was free. Whether it's the right way or bad way, we don't know. Let us keep that aside. But offer all to the divine, whatever good, whatever bad. It is simple, and that Upanishad begins with this. That is why it's called Ishavasya Upanishad, because that is the most important shloka of the Upanishad, which is realize the divine. And that Upanishad goes very deep later on. Means even the second shloka talks about Naishkarmya, what we are looking at right now. Kurvanneveha karmani jijivishe chatam sama evam tvai nanyat hetosti na karma lipyate nare. With this attitude of offering everything to the divine, try to live a full 100 years. Full 100 years you have to try to live offering everything to the divine, because this is the only way possible for mankind, where despite performing actions, karmas will not bind you. Whatever karma you do, you will not get trapped in karma bandhana unless you offer. This is exactly the kernel of the Isha Upanishad that we see beautifully described in a simpler way by Krishna here. And he says, see, remember, it is like that. It is like a beggar who is stealing if you are not giving it back to the divine. You are saying, see, I got this beauty. What will I do with that beauty tomorrow? If something happens, I lose it. What will happen to me? Am I only that? Or that is something intelligence? Like I was once getting very excited over my own poetry. My teacher quickly reminded me, I will turn it off from where it is coming. Then I really got scared. Yes, if I stop getting the inspiration which comes from another source, can I take pride over the inspiration that has come to me, or recognize that that is the source? I have to try to be true to that inspiration and not put a contamination of my own self. So something like that, it is very, very important. We have to see Krishna is saying, offer all. We'll just look at the 13th shloka and we'll stop here today. Tomorrow we'll continue with the 14th shloka. Krishna says, Yagnashishta Shina Santo Muchante Sarvakil Vishaihi Bhunjate Te Tvagam Papa Ye Pachantyatmak Karanat. After the sacrifice, whatever is the undistributed leftover, the good who are free of sin eat the oblations remainder. The evil offer only to themselves to eat the food and only consume sin because their actions accumulate no good. Means when you're having that nature, that wrong nature, you will do wrong karma, and then you will have the phala of those wrong karma. Wrong consequences will be borne by you. Instead, after the sacrifice, give everybody their right shares. I think when our parents cook, mother or father, and the cooking is done, how do? It? They cook and wait for everybody to eat. Sometimes only I had seen my mother is not eating anything. She'd say, my stomach is full. I'd say, how is your stomach full? You have not eaten anything. But she says, no, it's all right. I ate one chapati, that's sufficient for me. Or two is sufficient for me. What is that? That's some kind of a satisfaction. And that is exactly what we should do. Give all the shares to everybody who are rightful owners. Then what is there after it? Excuse me. So it is something like that. If you also try to cook for somebody, and when you hear everybody is liking your food, how already you feel your stomach is full. How many of you have experienced this? Yes, anybody? Okay, Dipali ji is raised her hand. Yes. So even without eating, how the children will say, where's there some, like when I was inside your stomach, ma, there was that umbilical cord connection which I was receiving, but now how are you getting it? But no, that is a satisfaction. Maybe we can just try cooking once and see that joy. And that time, the satisfaction comes, and they say even the anna which you eat at those moments, it becomes more nutritious also, because you are actually in a trupta state you are eating. Ultimately, our body needs very little. We don't really know how much is required. We stuff ourselves with 3 meals and all because that is a system that we are following. But the correct acumen, what we can say, assimilation happens of a right percentage only. So Krishna is talking about this. He says, offer. There is a goddess. I'll just conclude. There's a goddess in Rigveda. Her name is Dakshina. She is called a divine distributor. Her job is to ensure Devas also receive the right share. The offering, the priests also. The Hotar also should receive, the Yajman should also receive, everybody all should receive their right share. It is her role. And interestingly, our importer, her name was also Dakshina. She was a distributor of our Ayurvedic products in the USA. We considered her as a goddess only. She lived her life entirely in sadhana. Unfortunately, a year ago she had passed away. But always, this was something which is a beautiful principle where you have to understand that everything cannot come to you, and if you bring everything to you, you will bring along with it a lot of baggage of karma bandhana. That will, and sometimes wonder, why did I get this only? So to become free, there is something about sacrifice, there is something about letting go. We may be accumulating a lot of things which are not required. Letting go is important. That is one freedom which Krishna is saying. And yes, everybody can do karma, is what we have learned today. Karma must be done. Spiritual life, material life, maybe they are not so different. At least this is what Krishna is implying. Arjuna, we'll have to see whether he agrees or disagrees. Let us conclude with the Shanti Mantra, after which any queries are there. I will look at them. Yes, please. Hari Om. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kasyit dukkha bhag bhavet. Hari Om Tatsat. Krishna Mande Jagat Guru. Hari Om. Yes, ji. Any queries? Most welcome.
Hari Om.
Hari Om ji.
Hari Om.
Namaste ji. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Om.
Hari Om ji.
Hari Om.
Hari Om ji,
Hari
Hari
Om. Hari Om ji.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om ji. Namaste ji. Hari Om.
Hari
Any
Om.
queries? Hari Om.
Hari
Om.
Hari Om.
Namaste. Namaste ji.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om ji. Hari Om. Yes, any queries, anything you wish to discuss? We could look at it, or we'll conclude our session.
I have a question.
Okay, okay. Is it Madhavi ji or Vinita ji who asked first? Okay, Vinita ji. All right. Then I'll go to Madhavi ji. Yes, please.
Yeah, when I always have this question, okay, fine, we can practice, fearlessness, we can practice controlling our anger, we can practice sacrifice, we can practice to achieve samadhi. All these things are there, but we are living in a world where we can do something for ourselves. Okay, we want to enlighten ourselves, or we want to achieve something, come closer to the divine. But when we are living in this world, everybody does not come on the same platform, even within the family or within the society, or whether a person is working. You will find all kinds of people. When you're working in office, you might find different kind of mental aptitude people in the family itself. So my question is always like that. Yes, we can do things to improve ourselves, but when we deal with people, हम अपने आप सोच सकते हैं, ठीक है. For an example, I'm just telling you कि खाना अपना अच्छा बनाए. I keep talking to Usha ji and all these matters, and as she is like my spiritual guru kind of a thing, so whenever I want, I speak to her. So we have learned in the past also, like I used to and earlier also attend some discourses. So they say कि okay, ठीक है कि आप कोई सब्जी बनाओ, बनाने में आप सब्जी में अपना पूरा एफर्ट डालो and concentrate on that rather than expecting कि आप खाने के बाद में कौन तारीफ करेगा नहीं करेगा. That is, of course, that gives you a greater satisfaction because you have put all your energy, your positive thoughts while making that also, right? But when you deal with so many people around in the world, things are not what goes as per your frequency. So
Okay.
how to deal with that? That is my
so
main
it is
question.
more challenging, isn't it? Spiritual life is easy when you are in the ashram or when you are in the mountains, when you are doing dhyana, when nobody is going to come to disturb you, in nature's company maybe. But in the house, when you have so many natures, it becomes very difficult. It's like you are going to do dhyana, अरे ध्यान करके क्या मिलेगा? ध्यान क्यों कर रहे हो? नहीं पहले ये करो, ये क्या कर रहे हो? What is all of this? Why are you reading Gita is a question which one 60-year-old person's mother was asking her at that age. What are you getting in return for this Gita? Is it practical? Is it giving you anything? She was like, you will not understand now. And they both were still having that argument. But Vinitaji, the thing is, this is the beautiful aspect of the Gita, which is bringing together the reconciliation of opposites. Later on in the Gita, we will see actually it is greater and more difficult to do sadhana when in the midst of all of these distractions. Means how we can become a Jivan Mukta in the state of life. It is much more difficult when you're in the flux of activity. Like if I want to do dhyana, it is so easy for me to sit quietly alone and do dhyana when nobody is around. But if somebody is saying आज का मैन्युफैक्चरिंग नहीं किया है, क्या तुम आ जाओ यहाँ पे क्या कर रहे हो, और स्टाफ कमेंट से ये मुझे करना है, वो करना है, ये देखो कौन आ गया है, रॉ मटेरियल खराब हो गया है. All these outputs would come in. They are basically designed to trouble us, isn't it? From the state of quietude. But taking it as a challenge and being able to do it is definitely what the Gita is talking about. And there are people, Ji, there are people, like you said, Usha Ji also, if you see Usha Ji herself, since you quoted her, she had, I remember, first time she said, I wanted to attend the class, but her pain was so much that she could not sit. She said, I'm praying to Krishna to be able to sit for 15 minutes. Then she would sit for 15 minutes. Then I don't know how 15 became. Then one day she talked to me. She said, what if I lie down? I said, Maji, you please lie down also is no problem. Gita is, we are just trying to understand, and there's nothing like a rule or anything. No, I want to sit. And then she suddenly started attending for that batch for almost 1 hour. So what we see is it is easy for her to give up. She need not do anything, but she is fighting out. Maybe we can look at that as a very good example, meaning it is difficult. Like you see, Arjuna didn't understand or didn't comprehend what Krishna was saying immediately. And Arjuna is, that way we can say he's definitely a yogi. His concentration power, I would say, would be 100 times what I can consider. If I say mine is 1x, he will have 100x. That was his power. Yet he is having those doubts, meaning these are very legitimate human questions only. But there is some answer about it, how we can, means now Damleji's guru, means Damleji was he had gone to one, I would not say this guru, but a Guru Tulya elder. One lecture was going on, and that time somebody told him, you are talking about going beyond the mind, beyond the mind. Now we only understand mind. How are you talking about it? How do we go beyond the mind? And that person was very agitated by this question only. It's like, you're told all of this, it's interesting, beyond the mind, levels which are consciousness, all this, okay. How do I do it? He just smiled quietly, said, by doing it. And he went out. Everybody was like, ye kya hai? What is the meaning? What is the answer? But later on, they had a discussion afterwards. Others came and asked, Damleji, aap thoda batao. So he actually very nicely, he joked, he actually told, aap datogi nahi na mujhe, marogi nahi na, because that lady was also very senior. Damleji was in his, say, 50s, so his elder was in her late 60s. So she said, nahi, aap batao, aap kuch interesting bataoge. She said, देखो एक गाना है, गोली मार भेजे पे, भेजा शोर करता है, भेजा कि सुनेगा तो मरेगा कल्लू. He said, don't listen to the intellectual logics only, that will help you transcend the mind. So something like that, Krishna is going to offer us one by one step on practically going ahead. Right now, he's just introducing a concept, because Arjuna is also, though he is modern, he does have a little old-fashioned thought, thinking spirituality is like this, material is like this. Krishna, don't tell me Gaur Karma. If you are giving me Samadhi, give me Samadhi. Why Gaur Karma? I don't want to enter into this karma kshetra of this battle. Give me that freedom, liberate me. Why do you want me to do all of this? And then you are telling both and confusing. Tell me one clearly is what Arjuna is saying. We can say Arjuna has just asked the question, which is a very, sometimes it is said we need to have the right questions also. Like Kathopanishad, Yama appreciates young boy Nachiketas. He says it's a great opportunity that these questions are asked and somebody who is receiving it. So right now, let us just look at it, whether it is possible, how practically, how to implement it. That will take some time. But for that, before Krishna starts explaining it, Arjuna has to come out of his, right now Arjuna is still, everything Krishna tells to him, he is relating it through his emotions, through his outer events. So he's not yet going to receive that. Means in the Gita, when we move few more steps ahead, we will see Krishna will tell ways how to become detached, how to understand and how to act with people, means family, home, objects, other people, own people, other people, how do we react with them? These are all going to come later on in the Gita, Vinitaji. But it is something Krishna says it's possible. We can, as of now, just temporarily keep it like in hold. Because we don't need to completely believe Krishna also at the moment until we feel like we want to believe him. He's just saying it's possible. Let's see Arjuna. Arjuna is going to ask some very, very strong questions to Krishna, including, yeah, I'm supposed to believe you. How do I believe you? I don't want to believe this. You are telling me anything. This kind of freedom is there in the Gita. Arjuna will ask that. Let us see. If this doesn't get answered in the end, then I think I will be culpable. Till then, I think we'll just wait, Vinita ji. Yes, ji.
Okay.
Yes, ji. Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Namaste. Hari Om. Hari Om. Yes, ji.
Hari Om.
Hari Om ji. Hari Om. Madhavi ji wanted to share something, or we'll conclude our session?
Just one thing, the sacrifice you're talking is means not expecting anything. That is what you said today, no, sir?
Yes, ji. Yes, ji. Letting go. Letting go.
Letting
Letting go of our attachments. I want my dear one to behave this way. This is also an attachment. We want, it is all right. I'm not saying we should not want, because it will come to us. But what do we do because of that wanting? That's a problem, isn't it? Because we can't force somebody. We can say once, we can go and try and
At
tell.
least we should try to tell them the response. That is also attachment.
You
only.
try to tell them, but if they don't want to hear, what will happen, Madhaviji? How much ever you try to tell them in the best words, worst words, if that person doesn't want to hear or follow,
then we can leave. But at
that's
least
you do
try
it. You
to-
do it. If you feel like if you feel like telling, you should not know. Why should you trouble yourself? Tell it, but while telling, you keep the balance. What we can say, Suvarna Madhya, some middle path. Take a quiet approach. Just tell it once if you feel like, but don't hold on to that. It should be heard. As a duty, you feel it's a duty, it's your dharma, as a mother, as a wife, as a friend, as a sister, or anything like that. You feel you want to do that, it's your duty to do it. You can do it, but don't expect it to be fulfilled. It depends on the other person. There is a freedom. We say we are
we don't, even if we don't expect also, nobody means they don't want to hear also. If they are doing wrong and they don't know, and they don't want to hear also, then we can be calm. Is the
Yes, absolutely. Yes, telling somebody you are wrong is very difficult. Even if you tell very politely, you cannot. There's no polite way of telling only. Somebody is doing something which is completely wrong. You have understood it. You want to go and tell to that person. That person is 99.99% times not going to listen to it. Unless that person wants to hear and comes and asks you, am I doing wrong? It is less likely to change the person. All those times it's
Isn't
best
that
to...
what you said as detachment?
Yes, Ji? Yes,
Isn't that what it means detachment is?
Yes.
You tell
Yes,
what
Ji.
you have to tell. The consequences, you
Absolutely.
shouldn't take it personally. That
We
is only
shouldn't take it.
detachment.
Yes. And we should not have the excess attachment while speaking also, no? Because when we go to speak our duty, we have to do our duty in the...
Emotion comes in.
Yes. Without getting overcome by it.
Yes.
Yes, Ji.
Thank you.
All right, Ji. Thank you. Hari Om Ji.
Hari Om.
Thank you, Ji. Hari Om Ji. Hari Om. Let us conclude.
Hari Om.
Hari Om Ji. Namaste.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om Ji. Hari Om.